Welcome back to the Modern Old School Training Podcast. I'm Aaron King, and I'm joined today with John Brenkus, the creator of Soul and Science, which airs on NFL Network.
NFL Network, yep. And along with Trent Dilfer, he and I came together and created Soul and Science, which is really taking everything that he and I have done to the next level.
Very nice. So you guys went really deep into the quarterback draft. This is one of the deepest drafts that we've seen in a long time, and a lot of people are wondering if it's going to be that. Is it more of an 83 draft or kind of a 99 draft? There's just a lot of depth there, but what are the kind of things that y'all were looking at going into just each individual quarterback?
So we really wanted to explore the essence of excellence. And what I think comprises excellence is a combination between tangible factors, things that can be measured, like release time, throwing on the run, putting arc on a ball, how strong is your arm. All of that kind of stuff is important. The next component of those are really the intangibles,
right?
Leadership style, heart, desire. That when you take all of that into account, you get a really complete picture of an athlete. And that's what Trent and I have done. There's nobody better in the world of getting inside the mind of an elite athlete than Trent Dilfer. And I think in terms of breaking down elite athletes scientifically, I've now done it for 10 plus years. Right. And, we had good long runs on Fox and ESPN, and now it's time to take it to the next level with Soul and Science.
Yeah. And so looking at some of those things that you guys measure, when I think about golf a lot, when you talk about these skill positions, and in golf, the range of motion, a lot of these guys have different strokes, but as long as certain things are met at that point of contact, what is the main thing that you guys kind of maybe figured out or were looking for that said, these guys all have different ranges of motion, different techniques, but as long as they have kind of this one measurable, we can say that's something good to look at?
There are things that you do need to qualify for physically. So let's take release time, for example. If you can't get rid of the ball around the 0.4 second mark, you're not going to be able to play in the NFL. People were worried about Sam Darnold coming into this draft, and they're saying, he's got a slow release. But in reality, his release is just as fast, if not a little bit faster, than Derek Carr and Jameis Winston. So you can really kind of put that to rest, which means he can get rid of the ball quick enough. Then you sort of say, okay, what about their accuracy? How accurate are they? How accurate are they on a crossing route? How about on a deep out? When you're looking at different patterns and seeing how accurate you are, that's another metric where you have to be able to do that. In terms of being mobile and resetting your platform, you need to be able to do that. You have to be able to throw while on the run. Then you really need to be able to stay calm under pressure. And when we invite athletes on and put them under a microscope, there is an element of pressure to it. We've got our whole crew there and we're rolling on it and we're gathering real data.
Yep.
So really being able to dive into the soul and those intangibles and also the science that are the tangibles, you can determine whether or not someone is NFL ready. And that's why this draft is so unique.
Right.
There are really 5-6 guys who right this second they're NFL ready physically. The question is it going to be the right fit with the right team in order to succeed?
Yeah. So you have Trent Dilfer, who won a Super Bowl, has a ton of experience. He's seen everything. You have a lot of experience measuring these guys. How much kind of film study goes into each guy and behind the scenes kind of producing this show?
Well, especially when you think about our careers, our respective careers, it's really been years in the making. I mean, it's not just days or weeks or months. I've spent the last 10, 11 years doing nothing but analyzing elite athletes. And you think about the run that Sports Science had, it was on TV longer than Seinfeld. I mean, it was 1,800 different segments between Fox and ESPN. So there's a lot of work that's gone into just creating the foundation where Trent and I collaborated together. And I said, look, we're both looking at the same thing, but from two different lenses. So it's really the dream team of putting the two of us together, because he has more hours than probably anybody in terms of studying tape at the quarterback position. And it's a big deal to have all those years as a foundation.
And he sees a lot of these guys kind of at the high school level coming up. So
Elite 11.
So there's probably a lot of growth that he sees. And of course, we'll see growth going into the NFL as well. The big name, especially here in Texas, is Baker Mayfield.
Sure.
He's projected to go as high as anyone. We'll find out here tonight. What What are some of the things that stood out from the various guys that y'all measured?
So the various things that stood out, and Trent brought up an awesome analogy saying that this draft class is ice cream. You know, we can all agree that the world loves ice cream. Right. I mean, hard to find somebody who doesn't. But you don't all like the same flavors. So some are vanilla and Rocky Road and mint chocolate chip. You know, Baker Mayfield is his own flavor. He's his own thing. Very different quarterback than Sam Darnold. Right. You know, if you are looking at, if you had to pick one guy that you were going to build a franchise around from scratch, Sam Darnold is probably that guy because there's nothing not to like. He's a very low-risk proposition in terms of his personality is calm and cool, and you know he has great leadership and the physical skills that are at an NFL level. Then you look at somebody like Josh Allen and you say, look, I don't know if he can step on the field today right now, nor do I think should he, but physically he has arguably the strongest arm to ever be in the NFL, and that includes guys like John Elway. I mean, he is truly special. When you look at Josh Rosen, you have somebody who he certainly doesn't lack confidence, right? And he has all those physical skills, but that may or may not fit with the head coach or offensive coordinator. Somebody like Baker Mayfield, I mean, he really is a make it up as you go along kind of quarterback where he's constantly scrambling and throwing off balance as part of his game. Lamar Jackson, you look at an athletic set where Trent firmly believes that Lamar has developed more as a quarterback at this point in his career than Michael Vick. I mean, and he's such a crazy athlete. When you take all these guys into perspective, they all could theoretically lead a team to a Super Bowl someday, but it's really going to boil down to, are they given that time to mature? And that's obviously going to be up to each individual team, but that's really what's necessary.
I think that's one of the cool things about what you guys do is you hear knocks on quarterbacks, but you're able to really dissect it and break it down and say, you know, I get Darnold does this with emotion, but he's working with a great quarterback coach. And when we actually break it down, measure it from the time it leaves his hand, it gets maybe that thing that we're all knocking for doesn't matter.
And I don't even know how it starts, right? People say, oh, he's got a slow release. And then there are a bunch of talking heads who just keep repeating one thing that they heard. And before you know it, perception becomes reality. But it's simply not true. And that was one of the things that we wanted to prove with his segment is that his release is NFL ready. I mean, if you think Jameis Winston and Derek Carr get the ball out plenty fast, then Sam Darnold is qualified to be a starter. So really being able to dispel myths and saying, look, what you may think to be true isn't true. Let's scientifically verify whether or not they're NFL ready or not and really dive into their character to see if they can lead your franchise.
Check out Soul and Science on the NFL Network, and then check out everything else you got. You want to get some shout-outs to social? And
go out, go to soulandscience.com. Follow me. I'm on Twitter at Brenkus _ Trent's at Dilfer Dimes. And we're all over the NFL platform.
Awesome. I'll link all that in the bio, and if you have any questions, make sure you leave those comments below, and we'll try to get you as many responses as we can. Thanks for joining.
It's awesome. Appreciate you having me.
Talk to y'all next time.